You pay? Ha ha, now it's just a joke between us. Fred honestly regrets not getting the phone number of the American goddess Gilda. Back then, both had crushes on her. She'd trade 20 years for a second chance. But Mick thinks it's not even worth a day. Hey, how do you know? Have you shared a bed with her? What did you say? Listen, didn't you say 60 years ago that you never slept next to her? For my love for her, it sounded like a bargain. Now your musical style has changed, but things aren't as simple as Fred imagined. Because memories are like disastrous surprise parties, even if they had a good time with Gilda back in the day, Mick now can't remember a thing. He can hardly remember what his family looks like or how they talk, but he won't forget some important things like his beloved daughter and his lifelong passion for music. The Queen of England even sent an envoy to invite Fred to conduct the BBC orchestra on his son's birthday. They hoped Fred would play his hit Simple Sand, but he flat out refused for personal reasons, leaving the envoy so embarrassed that he wished he could dig a hole and hide. Whenever Fred was feeling down, he'd head to the forest, gently coaxing the grass and cowherds like a wizard soothing his emotions. With a flick of his wrist, the grass and cows around him seemed to perform a magic trick, reminiscing together. Then he placed hands on knees, as if telling grassy cowherd legends. When he waved his hands again, the cows and cowbells chimed in harmony, and the frogs in the west joined the chorus. Everything around seemed to dance to the rhythm of this old artist, accompanied by the crisp sound of cowbells wafting through the wind as he passionately waved his arms. As the old man's arms slowly spread out, this grand performance came to an end. Mr. Q is a very famous Marvel actor. He's worked with many great European and American directors, yet he laments that he's only remembered as Mr. Q in the movie, much like Fred's hit song. Subtitle: The role made him famous yet hated. He came to the nursing home to prep for his next chip. But he has no idea how to adapt to his role. There's a brace-wearing masseuse in the nursing home who Fred thinks has taken a vow of silence. Every time he gets a massage, he seems deep in thought, but once home, he sheds his bonds like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon, becoming a whole new person. Fred takes walks whenever he's free. But in the lawn of the nursing home, Fred encounters a red-robed monk meditating every day, and every now and then hears someone playing the violin, albeit completely out of tune. Finally, one day Fred followed the music and found a boy playing his hit song, but as a beginner, he had the few messy notes. Fred helped him correct his mistakes and tuned his violin. Nick, a naturally sensitive workaholic, had woven his life into the fabric of cinema. Even while on vacation at the nursing home, he had his team working hard for his last project. As a result, Mick lost for 5 days straight, but then a stirring folk. Two old friends kept on engaging in a lively discussion about the fascinating topics. When Fred made his way back to his room, he found his daughter sobbing in the bathroom. Lena never imagined her usually amicable husband could betray her. Instead of comforting Lena, Fred told Mick about it. He admitted he had never seen his daughter cry so heartbreakingly in his life. Mick was furious. He immediately called his son Julian, and by the next morning, the aristocratic couple was still silently dining in the restaurant. Mick couldn't stand it. He summarized his daughter's feelings right there, yet he couldn't comprehend why. Fred was always convinced they wouldn't lie. But the truth is Fred was just making a joke at Mick's expense. Just then, Mick's son Julian arrived with his girlfriend at the nursing home. Irritated, Mick launched an interrogation on his son. He angrily asked his son why he'd ditched a talented beauty for an ordinary-looking singer. Faced with his father's questions, the son finally spoke up. The old friends understood silently and stayed quiet, but Lena never got it. Seeing his excited and agitated daughter, the helpless Fred had no choice but to tell her the truth frankly and kept on comforting her continuously. He hoped she could let go of that unhappy experience, but Lena was in tears, pouring out her frustrations. Once Fred was like Julian, betraying his wife and doing many unspeakable things, but his mother pretended to know nothing. Lena never received her father's love while growing up, as Fred was too busy chasing his music career. He never genuinely cared about family and kids, let alone the immense pain his wife endured. So Lena felt her father didn't really understand her or grasp what her emotional mother was going through. Hearing his daughter's passionate and angry words, Fred could only choke up and remain silent. That afternoon, she pondered outside till the last sun rays faded, then returned to her room. Perhaps she extracted too much from the world in her youth, leaving her to repay that debt in old age. Compared to her youthful vigor, she now stumbled along. Nowadays, she can only rely on her once glorious reputation. All that awaited her were the pains and torment of aging, with her face clearly reflecting midlife's emptiness and confusion. That day Fred and Mick were still in the restaurant betting, but afterwards, the leading lady gave the man a slap, perhaps knowing but unsure how to express it. The man didn't even get mad, instead seeming to take it in stride. It was as if they both knew they had made a mistake yet could only express their anger in silence. After letting off steam, the couple snuck off into the woods only to be caught by Fred and Mick. They were reckless in a place and age where they shouldn't be, yet they gradually found solace amid the chaos of their hearts in each other's cries. In fact, Mick held onto a secret he couldn't confide in his old friend Fred. He saw a kid riding a bike and hinted to Fred, "Once you learn to ride a bike, you'll never forget it for life." Even if you forget what riding feels like, once you hop back on, that balance will come flooding back. For Mick, Gilda opened the first window of his life. That night, everyone gathered to watch a show, and Fred asked Jimmy how his character preparation was going. Jimmy gently replied that he was fine-tuning some details. Lena felt that the root of Julian's choice to divorce lay within herself, but Fred truly didn't know where the problem lay. He didn't want to lie just to appease his daughter. Just as he only cared about music back then, because music didn't require verbal exchanges or practice. Downstairs at the nursing home, there sat a beautiful woman with glasses who periodically brought her ailing mother to the facility. Perhaps her mother was gravely ill and needed the money. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel.